when he opens the door and there's like doves behind her, you can see her like acting through it, but also like the doves are like hitting the back of her head, and she's like, "All right, fuck
Th-
off,
This movie, so $17 million budget, 7 million of it went to
doves."
yeah, yeah. Not a John Woo movie.
I finally
Watched.
I finally
Watched.
I
finally
watched. I
finally
watched.
I finally
Watched.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of I Finally Watched. This is David.
And this is Alain, and I finally watched Dumb and Dumber.
So, I mean, this is a childhood classic for me. Now, I know you were, what, 3 years old? But you were
This
born
came
the
out in
same
95.
94.
I was 2 years old.
I thought you were born 91. You were
No,
born 92?
yeah.
Well, anyway, your parents should have raised you better, and you should have seen this at least before you made it to the 2000s.
I was thinking about this because this isn't really my type of comedy, especially not back in like middle school. It's just not my thing. And I was like, do I like this? Do I like this now? And I think I like this a lot more than I would have back when I was like 12. I've like grown into this kind of comedy in a way that I kind of wish that they did a little bit more with this.
What do you mean?
I guess the jokes were like they were funny, but I wanted to be I don't know, I just wanted more. I wanted like more slapstick, I think.
Yeah, to me, so I I clearly watched the unrated version this time, which I had not seen before. So it was a little bit jarring. I guess.
What's unrated?
Okay, so to get to the bottom of this, in the scene where he is peeing at the truck stop and it says 2:15 a.m., sharp, and then Seabass comes in the theatrical version, Seabass is you just think Seabass is going to beat the shit out of him. In the unrated version, it is very clear that Seabass is going to rape him.
Oh, I might have watched the unrated version.
Okay, yeah, where he pulls his underwear, he just shows his underwear.
He like starts like pushing Jim Carrey's head down, and Jim Carrey's like, think of a happy place, think of a happy place, think of a happy place.
Did you see him wearing like a banana hammock, Seabass?
No.
Oh, then you just got the normal version. So, I mean, yeah, that's
I
obviously
think that version made it really clear that he was gonna like mouth rape him.
as a child, though, it was less clear. I think it's trying to be a little bit more subtle. As this version it leaves nothing to the imagination.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. Probably a lot of these jokes when you were younger went over your head. When's the last time you saw this?
But I was also thinking about that, and it has to be early 2000s. I don't think I've seen it outside of high school, but when it came out, when I had the DVD or probably the VHS, I watched it over and over again. But yeah, it has been so long, and it is interesting what parts stick with you and what parts don't. It's obviously just all the gags, the pretty bird, and then our pets' heads are falling off, all that. But then the fact
I,
that he had screwed him over for a girl, so then he felt okay screwing him over. Harry felt okay screwing Lloyd over because of what Lloyd did to him when they were younger. Like, I didn't remember any of that plot points.
Also, a lot of the like the wordplay I could see going over your head, or like anyone's head back when they were a lot younger. Like my rapist wit.
Yes, yeah, that was a good one.
I was dying of that one. I was like, what did he mean by that? I had to look it up. I was like, rappy or wit? Okay.
And he can't pronounce the.
That was funny too. That's a good gag. It's funny too because I was coming into this being like, okay, so who's dumb and who's dumber? And the way I was looking at it, I was like, oh, just in the opening scene introducing the two characters, I was thinking, oh, Jeff Daniels is dumber. But then as the movie went on, sometimes Jeff Daniels was like really spot on, and Jim Carrey was so far left field. I was like, Jim Carrey's the dumber one. I think that's the point, right? Like they're both Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, but I mean, one can't read. I think there's a lot of points where Harry's actually like a little bit of the voice of reason, but I think also the fact that he's still listening to this guy that's clearly an idiot. I don't think the point of the movie is to figure out who's dumb and who's dumber.
No, that's not definitely not the point
But
of the movie.
as a child, I often wondered. I was like, who's who?
But I think that is like, it's not the point of the movie, but that's the point of the title of the movie, is the fact they are both equally dumb at different times. And I think at the end it equals out. And I think the ending scene is the perfect like encapsulation of how stupid they really are equally.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. They both have a chance to not fuck that up. So this is the second Fairley Brothers movie we have done, and you were a big fan of There's Something About Mary.
Oh, that's them?
Yes. Dumb and Dumber, Kingpin, There's Something About Mary, Me, Myself, and Irene, Shallow Hal. Then it did Stuck on You, which I think is a little bit of a cult classic. And then it's gone a little bit downhill from, you have The Heartbreak Kid, which I think was okay, Hall Pass, which is okay, Three Stooges, Movie 43, they had a segment in, Dumb and Dumber 2, which I never saw, and then Green Book.
I'm trying to digest Green Book.
Quite a left turn to Green Book.
I think you're making a joke, right?
No. Well, I think it might have been only one of the brothers, but he directed Green Book. Peter Fairley.
Peter. That's crazy.
You're looking it up because of how much you doubt that the guy that directed Dumb and Dumber directed Green Book?
I really did. Actually, Green Book was like panned. Like no one was happy that it won the Oscars in 2018, right?
But it wasn't panned like, I don't think monetarily. I don't think ratings was. I think at least a lot of the people I follow were like, it was an okay movie, it's pretty good, and then they're like, oh, this is going to win. Well, actually, it's problematic. It has this scene. It's this scene. It really shouldn't win. What does it say about the Oscars? And then it wins, and they're like, yeah, that's one of the worst movies to win. And it's like, I don't think it's that bad. I mean, it has an 8.2 on IMDb. It has a 69 Metascore. Like,
I've never seen it, so I don't know, but it's I'm looking at it right now, and it's labeled as a comedy, and I never thought it was a comedy. I didn't know it was a comedy.
It's a docudrama road trip biography comedy. I think it's like not a fish out of water, but it's two guys that how could these two be friends?
Well, now I'm looking at the other like 91st Academy Awards nominees, and you have Bohemian Rhapsody, The Favorite, Black Panther, Black Klansman, Vice, A Star Is Born, and Roma. And in a list of nominations where two of those movies are like African American centered movies, and then you have Green Book, which is also African American centered movie, but like in a totally different way.
Not in the way people wanted it to be, yeah.
Right, exactly. Although I don't think anyone would have been happy if Black Panther won either. So whatever.
Yeah, probably not. I thought that would have been a little bit of a stretch to me, a Marvel movie winning. So the other kind of crazy thing about this is Jeff Daniels being in this, and I think a lot of people, maybe my age or just slightly like in that bracket, this is the first time you like knowingly saw Jeff Daniels in something. So Speed came out the same year.
So funny.
But he is obviously like a very accomplished actor, and it took until like the mid 2000s for me to realize that, because this is just what I saw him as. And it's really funny. So the studio did not want him to do this. It was actually Jim Carrey who like requested it and was like insistent.
It was Jim Carrey? I thought he like really fought for it because he was like, I want to expand my horizon into comedy.
Well, no, he did too. He wanted it. And so apparently Jeff Daniels, the first week of filming, barely filmed anything with Jim Carrey because they were ready to cut him at a moment's notice. They actually had a comedic actor as a backup waiting. I don't know who that was. But they were so worried about this until he finally like proved himself that he could do it. So Jim Carrey was like insistent, like, hey, this is the guy. And then what I read is the studio were like, okay, well, we're just gonna lowball the shit out of him. So they offered him 50K to do it. And Jeff Daniels was like, "Yep, I'll do it." And
Yeah.
all his management agent were just like, "Please don't do this. You're going to kill your career." Which it does like irreparably change his career. Although
I was gonna ask you that. I was like, do you think it kind of changed and ruined his dramatic career?
I don't think ruined. I think it changed the trajectory of his career quite a bit. But I mean, he brought it back like several kind of like he does a lot of indie roles. The Lookout, which we have done, is where I like, oh shit, no, Jeff Daniels can act. And then you
No,
like go
definitely.
back
And then
and
you have like the newsroom, right? You have the
yeah, the new
newsroom.
yeah, the newsroom is like a perfect example of like he carries that show and he has that a presence and ability that I think maybe people were like, why am I going to get the Dumb and Dumber guy? You know what I mean? Like, because I don't know, Hollywood people are stupid.
Right, right.
So it also the studio offered Jim Carrey 700,000, and either they hadn't signed the contract yet, or his team was like, "No, we're going to renegotiate," because Ace Ventura: Pet Detective came out and destroyed at the box office. So he then ended up getting like 7 million.
Oh. I'm looking on here too, and like right after he did Fly Away Home with Anna Paquin, which is a drama, and then he also did Pleasantville, which is a pretty big movie, right? And
Yeah, I don't remember.
so
He must have been what was he a who was he in Pleasantville? A father figure?
probably, and then you have him in 101 Dalmatians, which is he's Roger. He's the father in that.
He's a perfect Roger.
Yeah,
He's
he is.
he's
No, 100%.
but
But yeah,
Squid
I
and the
mean, and then
Whale.
Squid and the
Squid,
Whale, and then of course Martian, right? Like Martian is completely serious role.
sort of Martian. The tone of Martian is very like it's like a comedic drama. I don't
You
know.
know,
To me, it's more comedy than drama. It comes out at a very similar time to Interstellar. So
yeah, he also did Because of Winn Dixie, and then I'm thinking, wow, like Because of Winn Dixie, 101 Dalmatians, Fly Away Home. First of all these movies involve animals. I don't know, coincidence. He's an animal guy in Dumb and Dumber, hmm? And then also he's also just the father figure in all three of those movies.
yeah, so I mean, he still has a lot of these dramatic roles. He's in Gods and Generals. He was in Gettysburg, I believe.
Yep, yep.
It is like, did this set him back a little bit in some dramatic roles? I don't
He
know, but
was
it's
in My Favorite Martian. That movie made me cry when I was little.
okay. But I still think he would do this 100 times out of 100, right? Like, there's no way that like this movie. It's like it makes him so recognizable that he probably less dramatic parts, but made more money over his career by doing this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it hurt his career. I think it kind of balanced it out where, if anything, it made him infamous in that kind of world.
Yeah. So the other aspect of this is the Jim Carrey 1994 might be like the biggest year for any actor ever. He had this, The Mask, and Ace Ventura all come out in the same year.
Wow.
So there's always that I think that conversation between like the comedic actor of the 90s. I think it's him and Sandler. I have a I have a soft place in my heart for Chris Farley.
Right.
But like you have these a few guys who are just like kind of jockeying for like who's like killing the 90s. I think Chris, I don't know. If we could do like Tommy Boy, Black Sheep, or Beverly Hills Ninja, like I don't know, Beverly Hills Ninja might be my favorite of them. But
Oh my god. And then the year after he did Batman Forever, year after that he did Cable Guy, and then obviously we have him in like Liar Liar, early 2000s, Grinch, Bruce Almighty. Yeah. I mean he rocked all the way up to like 2003. He was the comedic actor.
well, and even when he sort of stopped, right? Like I liked Fun with Dick and Jane. I think that's a pretty enjoyable movie. And then like he's not doing a lot for a while. He's doing some more dramatic stuff, and then he comes out with Yes Man. And Yes Man's like an amazing comedy, a little bit more like heartfelt than his earlier stuff, but still great.
Yeah, but then he does the same thing, right? Then he kind of goes back underground. He does like not a lot of stuff, some dramatic stuff, and then he comes back with like Sonic 1, Sonic 2, and Sonic 3. you know?
There's this quote, I think, that it was like, "I'm done acting unless something, like, really hits that I think really speaks
He
to
said
me."
gold. He said, "Unless gold is struck."
That was he said that, like, right after Sonic 2. He's like, "The trilogy must be completed."
Yeah, yeah. It's good. I mean, if that was a bit, it's a good bit.
So
Good bit.
Jeff Daniels also has a story that he was at a golf course once when Clint Eastwood was there, and Clint Eastwood told him, "Oh, I saw Dumb and Dumber," and Jeff Daniels was like, "Oh shit!" And then Clint Eastwood began to tell him that he once went on a date where he had the bathroom incident happen to him. So like the movie spoke to him, I guess.
I wonder if I've seen Dumb and Dumber 2 because I have such they did like a prequel without these actors with like different
Yeah,
actors called Dumb and Dumberer.
yeah. Christensen, what his name is,
Yeah, whatever.
Christian Olsen.
There we go. You got
My
it. I don't know if I saw that one or Dumb and Dumber 2, but I remember someone putting a giant Hershey's chocolate bar in their back pocket, sitting on a radiator, and it melting. And they're like, I got to go to the bathroom. And they start pulling it out of their back pocket. And it looks like they're pulling shit out of their ass. And I thought this was this. I thought I was like, oh, I've seen a scene in Dumb and Dumber. And so when Harry goes to take a shit in their non-working toilet, I was like, oh, that's the scene, but I'm confused. Where's the chocolate bar? Not the movie, obviously, but I'm now wondering what movie it was where so he just can it's a huge chocolate bar. He continues to pull it out of his butt, and then he covers the entire bathroom in chocolate. And then the father figure, or head of the house guy, walks in the bathroom, and then he's like, "Shit!" I don't know.
I'm not going to blame Eric Christian Olsen for this, but in the last 15 years, he's done NCIS Los Angeles and then like some voice acting stuff and some small parts. He's like a great comedic actor. He's kind of in that Jeff Daniels where he can like Jeff Daniels is so good in that he can do amazing dramatic stuff and amazing comedic stuff, and then he can blend it, right? In The Martian, as an example. Eric Christian Olsen, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, you're doing voiceover work and then NCIS, that's all we get? Anyway, back to Dumb and Dumber.
I don't
I,
know.
I it was interesting watching the unrated version. I wish I had been able to like it's just the version I had. I wish I'd been able to watch the one I watched as a kid to see what I missed because it is a little bit hard to tell what is just extra stuff versus what is, like I just missed it as a child. And so I think that would be interesting to have seen just the version I watched as a kid. How does this hold up? So
I remember watching. I think I've already told this story on the pod, so I'll be quick about it. But I remember watching the Dukes of Hazzard remake with Johnny Knoxville,
yes.
and I remember watching the unrated version and the rated version. And the only difference is that every time they showed a woman in the unrated version, she was topless, and in the rated version, she was wearing a bikini.
Yeah, I mean you're selling this movie pretty good, so I don't know. Maybe I'll watch it someday. not not the rated version. So I think I think we can get started. I don't want to spend a lot of time just quoting the movie, but damn, that's what we're gonna do. So
But but also there's a lot of plot to this movie too to get through.
yeah, but we don't have to say who cares? You know what I mean? Who cares?
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
It is very similar to like Harry Crumb that we did, right? That's like a comedy with like an element of the there's a ransom note and there's someone who's been kidnapped and like he's got to help solve it. This movie also is playing on the like the accidental spy trope, right?
Yep.
Which is not something I recognized back then when I was a kid, but seeing it this time, I was like, oh, that's a pretty smart way to do this. It's very funny. Like all those bits were like, no, these guys are professionals. And like, but why kill the owl? And it's like, because they're sending a message. Like,
We killed their bird, they killed ours. The other one, dude, as soon as I saw those owls and they were like obviously like animatronic, I was like, something horrible is about to happen to those owls. You know what this kind of reminded me of, honestly, is the Mr. Bean movies.
yeah, I could see that.
is because that's an accidental spy trope too. What else? There was another movie. Oh, it wasn't like Get Smart. No, Get Smart with Steve Carell was an actual spy parody thing. Yeah.
Well, there's like The Man Who Knew Too Little is Bill Murray.
Yep.
The
Yep.
one that I've watched way too many times since having kids is Cars 2, where Mater is an accidental spy. It's actually the only Cars movie I like because I was like, oh, that's a smart gimmick, and like the rest of them I just think suck
That's the only one I hate. I hate it with a passion.
because there's so much Mater in it.
'Cause it's so stupid, dude. It's so fucking stupid. But I mean, whatever, kids. Could you what do you think is an age appropriate, like an appropriate age to see this movie? Like what age would you let your son watch this movie?
Well, that's the question. Well, definitely not the unrated version. Man, I feel like my son picks up so much, and I'm like, maybe I picked up that stuff too and just forgot it because it's been 20 years, or maybe.
Well, what would be the worst thing for him to like pick up in this movie?
Well, in the unrated version, the rape scene is pretty bad, and then in the unrated version, when they're in like the honeymoon hotel, you just hear people in the other room having sex.
Maybe I was just not like passionately listening in on that. I don't know because I don't remember that.
You don't remember that?
Well, I didn't see the banana hammock either, so maybe
Yeah, I think
I
you
didn't
had.
see.
I
Yeah.
think you had the normal version because I don't remember that as a kid either. I don't know. I'm thinking like I said that, and then I'm like, I don't know, 8 or 9.
I think 11 or 12 would probably be more appropriate. And then
I'm
at least they would get more in on the joke.
Well, I mean, I saw the VHS. Like, we bought it probably right after. I don't know if I saw this in theaters. I think I might have, but I mean, so I was at least, if it came out in 94, I probably saw it in 95 at the latest. So I was 8.
Yeah, that says something about you.
And my parents, yeah, they're good people. So, I mean, we open up with just seeing how much of an idiots these people are. The Australia joke, I used to try and tell as a kid, and my brother was like, no, you fucked it up. You can't say, because he says, oh, Austrian, and then he goes into the accent. I was like, oh, Australian. He's like, no, that ruins the joke. You have to say Austrian.
Yeah.
And then Jeff Daniels and the feeding like the hot dogs. He's like, I wanted to give them a bite to eat before we get there. Good shit.
Who got the foot long? Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here. And then, oh yeah, telling. By the way, he married Lauren Holly after this movie, and they were married for a year. Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey.
Yeah,
Score.
great job on him. Just well done. And then after that, he did all right for himself. So telling her about the pet store, I've got worms, which is specialized in worm farms. Just like you ride with it's like Uber riders now. You like ride with, oh, don't worry, this is just a side thing, man. I got
What about how this movie opens? Right, the lady at the bus stop. He backs up the limo, and we don't see this, right? But he must just jump to the back seat, roll down the window. He's like, "Do you know where the medical school is?"
Yeah, that's how I ride to that's how I ride to school in a limo. But with still has the hat on, or did he put it? Yeah, I think he took it off.
He took it off. He took it off. Yeah.
So then he's like, "Oh, how about a hug? I hate goodbyes," and it's just so creepy as an adult. Like as a kid, it's just funny, and she handles it pretty well. And then grabbing the case. Did you know he grabs the case, runs, and goes off the jetway and lands? Did you recognize the guy that tries to stop him, the guy that works at the gate?
No, the Asian fellow, right?
He is Turk's boss from Scrubs, like the lead surgeon.
Oh. Yeah. I definitely have not watched enough Scrubs to know that.
Well, he better be if I said that. But anyway, so...
Mm-hmm.
And then when he gets home, he's like, fell off the jetway again, which is just like such a tiny, like subtle joke. And then he's like, I lost my job too. He's like, you're such a pathetic loser.
One of the best jokes in this is when they're like, do you know her last name? It's like, no. It begins with an S. Smith. Swanson. Swanson? Lloyd is right here on the case.
Samsonite. I was way off. The best callback to that though is when the guy comes with the gun. He's like, "You have my briefcase." He's like, "I'm so sorry, Mr. Samsonite."
I think I missed that one.
Well, that one might not have been in it, but it's like it's the first time I noticed it, so maybe it's only in the unrated version, but it is a great callback to it. And it's like you
Yeah.
had to be paying attention. So then he's like, "Hey, here's our last bit of money. Just the essentials." He's like, "Yeah, what am I, an idiot?" And then he just comes out wearing a fucking cowboy hat, like the biggest cowboy hat, beer.
I like to imagine how they did this was they just put Jim Carrey in the prop closet and they were like, just come out with whatever.
You'll do it funnier than we do. So, and then he's like trying to get Rhode Island Slut magazine, and then talks to the lady. Senior citizens, while old, while like slow, and shouldn't let them drive, can still serve a purpose. And then don't go dying on me now. Amazing. I always after that. I don't know if maybe I'm questioning this lady's acting. She's probably obviously no longer with us, unless she's 115. But she doesn't seem like she's the entire time gonna rob them, like rob him of this stuff. It's either like, did she get
What's
bored?
jarring though, it's jarring though, right? Because he walks into the apartment and you're kind of like, oh, did he have to run all the way back to his house to get change? But then he runs back into his apartment. He's like, I was just robbed by a senior citizen and I did not see that coming.
But it's also like maybe he just got lost and didn't know where the thing was, or like he took so long she got bored and she left and someone else took it, or she just like, because he talked shit to her, she's like, all right, well, I'm just leaving. And then other people saw the stuff and just grabbed it. Like, I don't know. She didn't come off to me as someone who's going to steal a bunch of beer and random, like whatever he had in that bag. And then he also didn't have his hat. Did he take that off and leave with her? I don't
Yeah,
know. But
I think
that
he did.
scene, that part always struck me as like, did she actually steal that? Or he's just like, he's almost like an unreliable narrator. Like maybe something else happened. He's just like, fuck it. I'm just going to say this lady stole it from me.
But I mean, they're both unreliable narrators because it's not even purposeful. They just don't understand the situation that they're in.
So they also have to run away at one point, and because he's like, did you forget to pay the gas man? So they run away and they come back. In my scene, when they break into it, you actually hear the snap of the bird's neck.
Oh God, no. It's just
Yeah.
like he just like I saw a putty cat, and then you just see his hand go down and the camera pan up. One of the best running gags in this movie is where he mentions to the henchwoman that he has an ulcer,
Yeah.
and then they write "Sorry, gas man," and he goes, "They're mocking me. How do they know I have an ulcer?"
They must have been following me for weeks.
And then in the diner, when they're trying to do CPR on him, they're hitting him in the place that's like the worst place to hit a guy with an ulcer.
And
It's
then
like, you've had small children. You know when they have like a gas buildup and you have to take their legs and put it over their heads for them to fart?
then you can like work their legs. Yeah.
Right, yeah. He was doing that to him.
Yeah.
My wife, like that scene is happening and Taylor turns to me and she goes, "Me when our son has gas."
I didn't even honestly put that together because I'm past that stage and I wouldn't have figured that out as a kid, but that is a hilarious like bit.
Yeah, and then he's like punching him in the chest. I don't know. I was just dying laughing at that scene.
So when Lloyd comes back, he's like, yeah, my Petey's, his head fell off. And like, his head fell off? He's like, yeah, he was pretty old. And then like, the line I probably repeat the most from this is like, our pets' heads are falling off.
Yeah.
But he says to him, he's like, let's go someplace warm. And then he says a bunch of other things. And he's like, Aspen.
Aspen. He's like, I don't want to go to the French aren't that nice.
It's like, you're just trying to return that briefcase.
One of the worst jokes, but also like one of the funniest jokes was when they're in the van and he's like, I thought we were on a tight budget. Where'd you get those chips? And he's like, oh, I made an extra $25. He's like, how did you make an extra $25? I sold some stuff. What'd you sell? Some stuff. What'd you sell, Lloyd? This is Petey. You sold my dead bird. And he goes, I sold it to the blind kid. And
he's like, he He didn't have a head. He's like, I took care of it. And then you just see duct tape.
And then he goes, Paul, you want a cracker? And then the payoff on how like later on she's watching the news and they're like, some sick fuck gave a dead bird to the blanket, and she's like, there's some real sickos out there.
So next important scene is the diner scene. And what's the soup du jour? She's like, it's the soup of
For the
today.
day.
That sounds good. I'll take that. And then we meet Seabass, who is played by an NHL player, Cam Neely. It was originally supposed to be Roger Clemens, which I think would have been more of a star hit in that role.
If that's what you
But
wanted from it, yeah.
but I didn't know this was a hockey player until like this year. I saw some little like reel on it. So, but I don't know, the character is also kind of so iconic. Roger Clemens honestly might have been distracting because he's much more well known.
He's also 250 pounds, 6'4". So
Who? Cam Neely?
Roger Clemens.
Well, yeah, they're both big guys. Did you just look up Roger Clemens like stats?
I don't know who Roger Clemens is, so I just looked up Roger Clemens, and the first stat is his height and weight.
He's a bigger dude. He's a pitcher for the Yankees. He was for the Red Sox.
I see that
Anyway, he spilled salt, so he throws it over. And then after he spits on the burger, he's like, "Man, you really wimped out there, man." He's like, "You spit on my burger." Does the thing. He's like, "Dude, that was amazing. Yeah, I saw it in a movie once." The guy get away? No, they caught up to him down the road, slit his throat. Apparently, I won't ruin this for you, but I sort of got it ruined for me. That is a reference to a Jeff Daniels movie.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, that's pretty funny.
it is, but I didn't know that. And it's like, well, now I don't know that I ever would have watched the movie in question because there's so many movies for me to watch. But I don't know. Maybe eventually I'll try and sneak it in so it'll be a surprise for you.
We'll get down to it 5 years down the road, and we'll be like, "Hey, that's a Dumb and Dumber reference."
Or maybe I'll forget. That could also
That's true.
happen.
That's true.
And then he's like, I know this is bad time, but I gotta pee right now. He's like, we're not fucking stopping. Like, you just told me this.
Dude, the peeing in the five. Okay, hold on. This whole scene of the peeing in the 5 bottles of beer, getting pulled over by the cop, and then the cops sipping it, and he's like, just get out of here.
Yeah. So that was the cop. He went out for the role of Lloyd and did not get it, obviously. And then this is his first role. Harlan Williams. His name was escaping me. I love Harlan Williams. He created and did the voiceover for a show that my kid watched, like for the first, I don't know, well, we didn't let him watch TV in the beginning, but Puppy Dog Pals. And like the whole time we were watching, I was like, I fucking know that's Harlan Williams. Anyway, this was his first role. And he's also a pretty great comedian. So I just love when they hand him the bottle. He's like, well, sir. And he's like, keep your mouth shut if you know what's good for you.
The face he makes when he sips the piss.
Well, the noise that he makes out of his teeth, I can't even make. It's like that. Like I can't even come close to doing it. So Lloyd has a daydream. I think about those headlight titties. I mean, for most of my growing up, I just thought about those things.
So Taylor was telling me a story on how her father showed her this movie when she was 8 years old.
She's like, that's what they're supposed to look like.
And it was getting down to that scene where she was taking her top off, and she like looks to her dad and she's like, I thought you said I could watch this. And he's like, it's going to be fine. And then it's the headlight titties. And that also has been in her head this entire time too.
Well, he also lifts the dress, which that has stuck with me as a child, like that butt. Apparently they were dating at the time, and then she like confided in him like, hey, I'm not wearing any underwear. So he just like did it on purpose. Kind of a dick move, kind of whatever. And then they kept it in the movie. Also, kind of sucks.
When he opens the door and there's like doves behind her, you can see her like acting through it, but also like the doves are like hitting the back of her head, and she's like, all right, fuck off.
This movie, so $17 million budget, $7 million of it went to
Doves.
Yeah. Not a John Woo movie, but $7 million went to Jim Carrey, reportedly, right? So this is a very low budget movie with like two
Oh,
new directors.
but it made a shit ton of money.
It did, but my point is it feels like, you know what I mean, like put together, like people like sort of like figuring it out on the fly. So Dove's hitting her in the head, like, you know, things like that. It's like it kind of all makes sense. And she's just like, this is not how this normally goes. But she's a trooper. She made it through it. I also, so they're in the second honeymoon hotel. I love this confused me for most of my life too. A John Deere letter instead of
That
it,
is one of the funniest jokes in the movie.
but it threw me off for most of my life to where I was like, when people said it correctly, Dear John letter, I was like, but what is it? Why is it called that? I don't understand. Like, I don't
Well,
get it.
what's so funny is if you watch it with captions, when he says the John Deere letter, it's spelled
DEE.
Deere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you could just see Jim Carrey's face of like, as he's saying, like, I never found out who the guy was. And he's just like, ugh. Did you think, so we get the bad guy on the phone and the guy outside of the phone booth saying, get off the phone, get off the phone. I was like, this is like a Jeff Goldblum wannabe guy,
Yeah.
which I
But
actually,
he's pretty famous in his own right though.
he is, but he's got Jeff Goldblum energy for sure. Yes. And I've seen him in several things. I think he was in Seinfeld quite a bit, or not quite a bit, but I'd seen him in Fred Stoller. Yeah. Which I guess is kind of a
Fred
dick move to call him a Jeff
Stoller.
Goldblum wannabe. But yeah. Anyway. Oh, no, he's not that guy. Anyway. All right. Let's cut a little bit here.
All right, hold on. I'll say it since this is a cut. I just want to say something. Jesus Christ.
It's Jason Bourne.
Hold on.
I actually am going to
I
cut.
got it.
Hold on. I want to cut the whole Jeff Goldblum wannabe thing. It's kind of, there's no need to put it in there. So anyway, let me do it again. Let me do it again. Ready? And then you have the bad guy in the phone booth. And I always like the guy who he punches always gives me like Jeff Goldblum energy. Obviously I've seen him in a lot of stuff. Fred Stoller, but
Yeah, and he has like that really like Jeff Goldblum, right? He has that really iconic voice.
he does for
Yeah.
sure.
So we get a little bit of the backstory at this point. We get Mary. I was confused on this. Is this her in-laws? Is this her parents? She introduces her mom as her stepmom, but it doesn't make any sense if all their last names is Swanson. If she's married to Swanson, it would be her in-laws, not her stepmom.
No, I think that's her real dad. And that's like his new wife. Cause she's kind of younger.
But it okay, well maybe so. I guess I got their last names mixed up. But when we meet Nicholas, immediately I was like, bad guy. He did it.
Bad guy energy.
He kidnapped the husband.
So before that, though, we got picking up Joe, the bad guy, and the most annoying sound in the world. Jim Carrey apparently just ad-libbed that, and like Jeff Daniels, you could tell, like he's like, "What the fuck?" Anyway, that scene's hilarious. Then we get to the atomic pepper thing where they're just fucking.
But hold
with
on. The scene where they're singing Mockingbird, and then they pick up the Hispanic family with the guitar,
Yeah.
and they're all singing Mockingbird. I die. That was so fucking funny.
But before that, before they pick up the family, he's like about to pull his gun. Also, they said to him, "Oh well, we don't normally do this," and then they pick up the family after that too.
Also, when they're picking, he's like, Lloyd's like, "We don't normally do this, but I'm gonna go off my instinct here."
Yeah. So then after they kill him, which we've already sort of talked about, we get like the police are sort of involved at this point. Did you know right away the woman that's hitting on Lloyd was a FBI?
No way.
You didn't?
No.
I thought in retrospect it was fairly obvious because why is she talking to him? But then also when she appears at the bar later as well.
Well, she was moving to Aspen.
I just like, there's like some cops that are like, all right, we're trying to stop these guys. And then there are other FBI agents who are like, no, let's just see how this plays
See how
out.
this plays out? Why did you get a gun? Why didn't I get a gun? What if they shot you in the head, Harry?
What if you shot me in the face? Yeah, it was a chance we were willing to
That
take.
was the risk we were willing to take.
But they also gave him a gun, which is insane.
That is insane. And then he's like, "You're a terrible shot."
Yeah. So we get to the truck stop, which we already talked about. For manly love, be here at 2:15 a.m. So yeah, I mean the original scene definitely alludes to it, whereas the other one spells it out that he's like about to be raped.
Yeah.
And I do like the way it's all put together of his, Harry's foot is on fire, so he has to go get it out, and he knocks Seabass out.
When his foot caught on fire and he quickly is trying to get her number, he's just like, give me the fucking number, and she's like, not if you're being pushy about it.
Yeah, which is also funny because she's a cop, so why does she? I don't know. Maybe she's like, I really have to play the role. So Harry's then asleep. Lloyd is driving and not paying attention, and he, instead of heading to Denver,
Well, I thought it was not him paying attention. I thought it was another gag about him not being able to read.
that could have been, but he's also fucking with Harry at the time. He was like grabbing his nose.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So this leads me to a funny story where we went on New Year's Eve to Orlando, went to Medieval Times, and then went to downtown Universal, drinking, cavorting. Two of my friends got engaged that night, and then we left.
Wait, one proposed to the other.
Yeah, it wasn't two sets.
Okay.
They both no, yeah. So then we're leaving. The engaged couple in one car with a couple of our friends, and then us in another car. And as you know, I always drive, so I'm driving our car. Get an hour down the road on I-4, and we get a call from them just screaming that they went the wrong way on I-4. They went west. And they went for a fucking hour.
So they're in Tampa.
They almost hit Tampa.
Yeah.
They started seeing signs for Tampa.
They're like, that's not right.
And like the only one who would have been like first of all, and they're all blaming each other, just yelling on the phone, like, and we had stayed till New Year's Day. So we were there till 1.
Oh
So
God.
it's now like 2 when we're almost back to Jacksonville, and they're now have an additional hour to add on. So we're 2 hours ahead of them. Yeah, it was hilarious being in the right car. I'll tell you that.
That's good. When they're like out in the open road, like the plains of Nebraska or wherever
I
the
would have
fuck they are.
expected it to be rockier.
The joke when he like comes up in the motorcycle and he's like, I traded the van for this.
Straight up.
It gets 70 miles an hour from a kid. I traded it with a kid back in town. He goes, Lloyd, you have done some really stupid things,
And just
but
when I
you're
thought,
totally making up for it right
it's
now.
like just when I thought you couldn't get any dumber, totally redeemed yourself. So then we get to Aspen. We already talked about like the Samsonite joke. And then he's like, I can't, what are we going to do now? I can't feel my fingers. And he's like, well, take these extra gloves. My hands are sweaty.
Extra gloves.
And then when the briefcase opens, and the other joke too is like as he's strangling him, he's like, Harry, your hands are freezing. But then they get the money and they're like, all right, we're just IOUs for everything. We're going to be meticulous. But the callback to that when the bad guy opens the briefcase, he's like, hey, those are just as good as money.
He shows the IOU to the, what is it, a Corvette or a Ferrari? He's like,
There's a Lambo.
Oh, it's Lambo. I couldn't have gotten any. So he's like $275,000.
You should keep this one. This one's a big one. How much money was in that briefcase, do you think?
So before that joke happened, I was like, I can't believe they spent $50,000 that fast. And Taylor was like, there's way more than $50,000 in that.
I mean, the obvious answer is either like $500,000 or $1 million. It is funny that if they only had $500,000, that they spent over half of that on a Lamborghini.
The way he's tipping everyone when he gets to the hotel, and they're like, you get some," and then Harry walks up, he's like, "Here's some for you."
Yeah, yeah, I love it. It's also interesting. I didn't remember much of the movie being in Colorado, but we hit at the hour mark. There's 52 minutes left. We hit Colorado, and I was like, "There's a lot of the rest of this movie takes place here," but a
Yeah.
lot of good shit happens. So they
Well,
read the
not
news.
only is it an accidental spy movie, it's a road trip movie too,
Correct. And then we get a getting ready for the ball
with
montage.
Pretty Woman playing in the back.
So perfect. I love when he walks out in the orange suit, how disappointed the suit guy is that he chose the orange suit. Just so mad.
And now we have Halloween costumes for the next 30 years.
Forever. They're actually at this point, if you do it, people are like, "Oh, great callback." There was like a 10-year period where people did it, and you're like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I guess, whatever."
Yeah.
So they get to the dinner. I love, "Hey, fellas, this is a $500 plate dinner." And he's like, "Oh, put us down for 4 in case we want
Gives me 1
second."
seconds, yeah.
And then sprays the, how do you say that word? Banaka. Sprays the banaka like right in his eyes.
Deserved. I did
It
not feel
does.
bad.
So this is interesting to me. I'd never, and I'm only bringing it up not because I care that it happened, because in a movie like this, who cares? But the girl Shay that worked with Joe, that were tracking them in Rhode Island, she walks up to our bad guy and is like, "Hey, those are the guys." His name is Nicholas. It then cuts to a scene in my version, maybe not in your version, where they're talking about the owls up on the stage. And Nicholas is standing up on the stage holding the stepmom. He probably fucked her in some version of this movie. And then it cuts back to Nicholas standing next to Shay, and he's like, "All right, well, we got to take care of these guys," or something along the lines of that. So it's like a complete like continuity error, because like he was standing next to her, went up on stage, and then came back and stood exactly right next to her in the exact same spot. Like, it doesn't make sense.
That was in my cut too, and it is jarring, but that's kind of what I just filled in the blanks with, is that when he stepped off. Yeah, but I mean, you're so distracted by their suits and what they're doing
Yeah,
that
right.
it doesn't even
I've
matter.
never noticed it before, but I did think it was funny this time. And I'm just proud of myself because I never noticed those things. So then Harry's like, "I'm going to go up and talk to her." But then the stepmom's like, "Oh, you should take her out." And then the bird gets killed. And it was a message, which we've already talked about, but just is great. So Lloyd goes to the hotel bar. Harry goes out on the slopes. The tongue stuck thing is also just something that like I sort of forgot about, but was like at one point like one of the most iconic things from this movie.
Well, I mean, the whole gag is that Mary does not find Lloyd charming, but Jeff Daniels, Harry is just as dumb, does just as stupid things, but somehow she finds that to be charming.
Well, it's kind of the way it went about too. Like, so she seems to be like a very sort of understanding person and like is willing to give people like a chance. So Jeff Daniels is sort of introduced to the stepmom as like, "Hey, this is a guy you should go hang out with, have fun." And then she just ends up having fun because she's had her mind on things. If Harry had immediately walked up to her and be like, "I'm in love with you. What are my chances?" She also probably would have been like, "Oh, well, no, not great."
Yeah, well, but lest we forget, she has a kidnapped husband. And yet her mom is so willing to set her up with the next guy. And also, she's having a little bit too good of a time with Harry.
Yeah, but I think there maybe is like an undercurrent of the stepmom is in on it, and maybe it's just like not a payoff we get, because she's like, "Oh, your husband's not coming back.
Mm-hmm.
You should go have some fun."
Also, they never get the phone call for the ransom, like, "Yes, we got it," or "No, we didn't get it. Some fucking idiot with a bowl cut got it." Like, they never got that call.
Well, they sort of know that. They're like, "Oh, we heard the robbers didn't get it," and they're like, "All right, well, we gotta figure that out."
I guess when they're fighting, when Harry and Mary are fighting in the snow, and
Dumps her
it gets,
face in the snow.
yeah, and she looks and she's like, he's not afraid to get a little rough with me.
Yeah. So then he comes back, and Lloyd has figured it out because he saw him take her home, And he's like, "Wait, why would she mean 10 a.m.?" He's like, "I don't know. I just figured she was a raging alcoholic." And then the X-Lax, which is also great. There's so many just like little bits in this movie that are amazing. And a staple of 90s movies is a diarrhea scene. Like 90s, early 2000s. Along Came Polly comes to mind.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, the kicker is, I hope you're not using the toilet. That one doesn't work.
And I don't remember this, but in your version, does he take the toilet off the floor and starts trying to dump the poop outside?
No.
Yes. In my version, he's got the toilet at the window and is pouring it out of the window.
The whole toilet?
Yeah.
No, so in my version, he's going to the tank and he's trying to fix it, and he pulls out like the most important part of the tank, and he looks at it, he's like, nah, not important, throws it up behind him. And then when Lloyd shows up and he's like, hey, I have your briefcase, and she's like, oh, thank God, he's still trying to fix the toilet while she's like, hey, I gotta go. Right?
Yeah. It's the same thing, except he's trying to dump the poop out of the.
Oh my God. When he's at the bar, let's back up a little bit. When he's at the bar and the undercover cop lady is telling him all about her woes, the annoyed look on his face is like, God, shut up. But then like he says the same shit.
But also, it's like a hot woman is hitting on him, but he's just like, no, it's not. It's not my Mary.
At least he's consistent, you know.
So as they're going back to the hotel, race you to the top, and then he falls, so he grabs her leg to trip her.
A little throwaway line. I still just find it funny because I love the smaller stuff in this. But he's like asking the bartender, "Do you know a Mary Swanson?" And he goes, "Yeah, she comes in here all the time." He grabs his collar, he pulls it, and he's like,
mean by
"What
that?"
do you mean by that?" He goes, "For dinner, for dinner."
So he's working up the courage to tell her, and then I desperately want to make love to a schoolboy.
What?
Wait,
No, that's not what I meant.
and then also, what are my chances? 1 in a million. So you're telling me there's a chance?
That's probably one of the most quotable lines from this movie.
Yeah, for sure. And then Pet's head's falling off, I think, are the top two. Oh, and totally redeem yourself. That's
I know we're going way back to the beginning, but when he opens that van and there's all those dogs covered in ketchup and mustard, and he goes, "Maybe you want to run a comb through them."
Yes. Yeah. So then I'm the rightful owner of that briefcase, Mr. Samsonite. That's as good as money. And then it's like, so Harry walks in, and then it's a weird cut to black, which I thought was odd, like almost like it was a TV show. It like kind of fades to black, and then Harry gets on the bed. So I guess that's maybe like an unrated cut, like I don't know, symptom.
I didn't
of
get that. I didn't get that.
Yeah. So and then Harry, you're alive, and a horrible shot. And then he's like, "What's going on, Harry? Your name is Harry, right?" And then, did you get the daydreaming of him killing the husband when he shows up?
Yeah, I did.
Which is also just funny. And then the bikini bus, which, as a young boy with, I mean, still hormones at that age, I was like, get on that fucking bus, man.
We're looking for two young oil guys to spend the rest of the summer with us and oil us up when we need it. They're like, "Oh my God, you're in luck. There's a town 2 miles that way." And the look of confusion on their face is like, okay.
I will say, I don't know what age these guys are supposed to play in this movie, but in 94, Jim Carrey would have been like 32, and Jeff Daniels would have been like 39.
That's the age that they're playing this movie.
I mean, I guess, but it's like, they're like, we're not young guys. You clearly want younger guys.
It's funny to think of Jeff Daniels like this, especially when you're. Do you know which one came out like actually out in theater? Was it this or Speed?
I do not know that.
Because like Jeff Daniels in Speed looks like an adult, like he with a job, like a respected job, you know.
Yeah. So this was released December 16th, 1994. So I would guess Speed.
Speed's a summer movie, yeah, 100%.
For sure. Has to
Can you
be.
imagine going to Speed and then going to this and being like, not the same guy?
That's the same guy. That is the same guy. I mean, I went over most of the fun facts already because a lot of them related to Jeff Daniels and
Yeah.
how they did not want him in this movie.
I got a fun fact for you.
You go for it.
Jim Carrey's chipped tooth.
Real.
Real. He actually went to I don't even think the producers or the director told him to do this. I think he went to a dentist, had it professionally cut off, and when he came to set they were like, "What the fuck? You didn't have to do that."
Yeah. So my fun fact: during filming, Jim Carrey stayed the night at the Stanley Hotel, which is and he stayed in room 217, which is the infamous room from The Shining. And according to the tour guide at the hotel, 3 hours after he went to sleep, he came running out of the room, left the hotel, and would never speak about what happened in the room. But that also could easily
Hmm.
be Jim Carrey creating the aura of Jim Carrey, right? Like just
Do you think he do now hold on. Do you think he walks out of that room like walks out of the room, walks down the stairs, okay, said bye to the bellboy? Or do you think he's like in his honk shoe cap, like, ah!
uh probably the second one. I don't
Yeah.
know. If it's real, it's probably more muted. An early draft of the film had Mel Gibson playing himself as a cameo role as the husband.
Oh, so she's actually married to Mel Gibson?
Yeah.
So she loses either way.
Back then he wasn't anti-Semitic. So
Oh, okay.
Steve Martin and Martin Short both turned down the role of Lloyd in earlier
I feel like they'd
times.
be too old.
Not back then. Nicolas Cage and Gary Oldman were the original choices to play Harry and Lloyd.
See, okay, that would be interesting. But now imagine a world where you have like Martin Short and Nicolas Cage in a movie.
Yeah. Lauren Holly turned down a role in Ace Ventura, which I assume has to be the Courtney Cox role or the other detective role. I'm not sure which it would have been. The female detective that turns out to be a man. Ben Stiller, Eddie Murphy, and Mike Myers were considered for the role of Lloyd.
Can't make
Rob,
that joke anymore.
yeah, Rob Lowe, Chris Elliott, and Chris Farley were briefly considered for the part of Harry. And then Jim Carrey refused to shoot an alternate ending of Harry and Lloyd getting on the bus with the Tropic Girls, which I think is like I kind of respect him being like, if I shoot this, then you guys might be dumb enough to use it, and the movie is better if we don't get on the bus.
Harry, you made a huge mistake. Runs up to the bus. Ladies, it's that way. And then they show the like the girls inside, and the bus driver was even hot, and I was like, God damn it.
Yeah, it's a big mistake. What did you think overall? Because I was actually, when the movie started out, I was a little bit like, oh man, is this going to age well? And it does. Like, to me, it was fun watching it, but I was like, how much of that is nostalgia and how much of that is the movie holds up? So, did it hold up to you?
So literally the day before watching this, I watched the new Naked Gun movie with Liam Neeson, and that kind of put me in a good headspace to be like really accepting to comedy
Comedy.
and comedy. And as much like it, that movie was so chock full of jokes, like back to back to back to back gags. This movie actually came as kind of like a breath of fresh air in the comedy world. Surprisingly, I was like, "Ah, okay, they're letting this one breathe a little bit." I I'm never like a huge fan of like a gag for gag's sake. So there's a couple of Jim Carrey jokes in there that I felt like are just kind of too much.
Yeah.
And also, I don't think when this came out or when I was like 11 or 12, I would have even liked this movie because, like I said, I didn't see it for a reason. But I think my taste in certain types of comedy and jokes have developed into actually liking this movie. And the movie was ending, and I found myself like actually kind of sad that it was ending. Also, didn't they come up with a third one like recently?
Yeah, Dumb and Dumber 2. It's Dumb and Dumber 2, but it's TO because it's not T, it should be TOO.
or TWO.
No, well, yeah, I guess you could do that way, but I think it was like Dumb and Dumber 2, like as well. There's several, there's like a triple entendre there. Well, thanks for listening to another episode of I Finally Watched. This is David.
And this is Alain. I finally watched Dumb and Dumber.